In this video, I'll show you how to use Copilot Studio Agent Estimator tool. Now, Microsoft has recently released a simple tool uh, named as Copilot Studio Estimator. So this is the URL, so microsoft.github.io slash copilot studio estimator. Now, this particular tool basically allows you to estimate the Copilot Studio licensing charges. Now, it won't be very accurate, but at least you will get an estimate of how your Copilot Studio will behave in terms of the licensing, the users, the access methodology, and how your agent, what is your agent type basically, so whether it's an employee facing agent or customer partner facing agent, and then depending on that, a total estimated messages will be displayed. Now, I will just go into this tool, but before I go into the tool, I just want to show you something. Now, we have something called as a Power Platform Licensing Guide. So, Power Platform Licensing Guide. This is a licensing guide which Microsoft publishes, just to give you brief information about how the licensing operates within Power Platform environment. Now, June 2025, in if you see the June 2025 version, you will find Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, AI Builder, Dataverse, Manage Environments. But Copilot Studio is missing from this list. Why? Because Microsoft has created another document named as Copilot Studio Licensing Guide. Now, this is a comprehensive licensing guide published in June 2025. Now, here you will get to see all the information like how to buy Copilot Studio, the overview of licensing, the billing rates for agent activity as well as for the AI tools, and then tracking Copilot Studio message consumption and entitlement. So, it as this document is comprehensive. I would recommend you to read through it if you are in the Copilot Studio space. It will give you different uh, ways through which Copilot Studio licensing works, pay as you go meter or message pack subscription license. So, just to give you a brief over here, Copilot Studio messages are referred through the Copilot Studio message pack subscription license. Now, message pack should be purchased for the anticipated number of messages. Now, when you say anticipated number of messages, means we need to estimate well in advance that what will be our consumption pattern that will be consumed by the tenant in a month. Now, one message pack is 25,000 messages. Okay. Now, this is important to note because this we are going to use in our Copilot Studio Agent Estimator. Now, there are other things how to buy and what are the different purchasing option, and then it goes deep into the licensing overview, build messages as how you get billed in a pay as you go meter scheme, or how you get billed, that's per tenant based on 25,000 messages per month, and the pricing is 200 US per pack per month. And there are some other details like what comes with a seeded license, what comes with M365 Copilot users, Copilot chat users, what do these people get, and then there are other orchestration modes. So one is orchestration and another is consumption. So this document gives you a whole bunch of summary. Now, if you have a Copilot Studio in Microsoft 365 Copilot Studio, if you just have a Copilot Studio message pack subscription, and if you have a pay as you go meter, then what is included and what is not included. So those all things are pretty much documented in this document. Now, if I go into the estimator over here, let's go into this estimator. So it says one message equal to $0.01, and we have an option to convert this into a currency. Click here to convert to your currency. So if I click over here, it will give you that conversion rate. So if I say I have, say, maybe $200 USD, and I want to convert it to euro, I just press calculate, and then I will get an equivalent, say, value. Okay, so 200 USD is 175 euro and 200 euro is 228 USD. So this will give you that number. So this will give you that pricing. Okay, so coming here, now as you see over here, first from an estimator type perspective, how do you configure monthly agent message estimation in two ways? Now, an estimate based on common telemetry data and assumptions. So in order to estimate, we need to have some sort of a data. Like if you have worked on the telemetry data and we have seen the pattern of how the agent is getting used, then you can make use of this approach. Or maybe you just say an estimate based on manual entries for my agent. So this is the first selection. Now how this works is, on the left hand side you put all the configuration parameter, and on the right hand side you will get an output. So you will get some numbers over here. So maybe you will get say 2000 or 5000 or 6000 estimated messages, and then depending on the mapping within the document, we can safely assume that, oh, this copilot, for this we may need to buy 1 pack or 2 pack or 3 pack of 25000 messages. Okay, moving on to here, agent traffic. Agent traffic quantifies the activity and agent supports by assessing the number of end users accessing the agent. Now, how many users are going to use your system? So let's assume I'll say my agent is going to be used by say 4000 users. On average, how many times per month will your users interact with your agent? I'd say they may interact twice a month. That's it. Okay. Now, if I just tab out, now I have another option to select agent type. What are the agent type you are specifying? The agent type specifies whether the agent is just for internal consumption, like your own Active Directory users, or it is externally for customer, partners, supplier, vendors, those kind of conversation. Now, deployment location impacts the usage trends, aiding in accurate consumption forecasting. Now, what is the employment agent type? So let's assume this is a customer or partner facing agent. Now, if I select this, now as you see over here, there are something which has changed over here, right? Now, messages driven by actions and topic. Now this item has come. Now when you go to agent orchestration, now agent orchestration means orchestration involves managing and coordinating an agent's capabilities and actions. So this is all about provisioning an agent, updating an agent, putting some logic to an agent. Now here we have a couple of orchestration. One is the older way, classic method. Generative AI is another method whereby we make use of the language models to generate the response. Now here I have selected classic. Let me go into generative over here. Okay, and then agent knowledge source. Knowledge source enables agent to provide relevant information and insight. Published agent use configured knowledge source to configure the responses. Now, how many non-tenant graph ground sources you have? So maybe if I have say 10 data sources, okay, and how often they will be leveraging, they might be using it say twice. Okay, so this is about the data, what is happening. So if you have a knowledge sources within your tenant, for your agent, then how many and how often they will use. So these are like couple of questions you need to ask. Now, how many topics will your agent have? So let me say my agent will have say 40 topics, and how often they will be leveraging twice. How many agent flows have you configured? Maybe I have 7 agent flows, and how often will this flow run per month? So maybe twice. So these are the things which you need to specify. Now, how many triggers will you add to your agent? Maybe I will add 4 triggers. And how often will this trigger each month? Say maybe twice. Will this trigger use deep reasoning? No. So you get all those follow-up questions in terms of triggers, in terms of actions, in terms of topic, in terms of knowledge source. Now, how many agent actions will you use? Maybe I'll just put some numbers over here, and you have multiple options about all the triggers which you specified. So you said 4 triggers, so you need to specify that 4 points. Now, if I just say one, only one item will come in. So let me put some number over here. This is just an assumptions. Okay, and will you use prompt tool? Let me say yes, I'm going to use prompt tool. And how many prompts are you going to use? How I'm going to use say 30 basic prompt, 20 standard prompts, and 5 premium prompts. And how often they are going to use? Maybe in your agent number is 2. Okay, so these are the parameters which I have put. Now as you see over here, it has generated the total estimated messages 1161. Now this is quite within the limit. Okay, it is quite within the bound, because I showed you that document. It says 25,000 messages, right? So Microsoft Copilot Studio, if you go with message pack subscription with uh, 1 unit, you get 25,000 messages. So that's $200 per message pack per month. So that should suffice, okay, based on the scenario which we have selected. Now again, if you increase the user, I just say increase the user and tab out. And if I just increase some parameters, so let me just type in say 5, and maybe I'll just select say classic. Now as you see, if I select classic, some of the items get disappeared over here, right? So what all things got disappeared. Now if I just select generative again, number of messages that charge the trigger. So if you have a agent orchestration, then this value gets added for generative AI. Okay, similarly these are the things as you see over here, messages driven by optional modifier. So majority of the cost is coming from here, 1024. Now if you see over here, we said that will you use prompt tool. Let me say no, I'm not going to use prompt tool. And then there are other things like agent topics and action, agent knowledge. Let me select a classic orchestration over here, and I have an option to select employee facing agent. So let's assume this is an internal working. Okay, so if I just select employee internal working, then you will see that there are additional thing which gets added: number of messages that charge for topic, number of messages that charge for agent, and messages driven by knowledge. Now let me reduce this value, and I got this message list. Okay, so this is how you basically use the Copilot Studio Estimator to estimate on how much it will cost. Okay, now this is not a dollar value, this is just a message. Now you need to convert that into an equivalent dollar value just by taking a reference of 25,000 messages with equivalent to, say, currently it's 200 US dollars. Now what we have specified, we have first specified the estimated type, specified how the traffic will flow through the conversation, what are the agent type, whether it is internal or external, how do we orchestrate it, what type of orchestration we use, what about the knowledge source, what knowledge source do we use, and agent actions and topic, how many actions, how many agents. So I can specify whatever the value over here, so maybe I'll say 20 actions, and accordingly the estimate will change. Now as you see, from 1200 it went to 1300 because the actions and all those values have been changed. So the more action you add, the more value you'll get. So more number will be changed. So I'll just say 100 and 100, and then you see it's gone to 1821. Now will you use prompt tool? So again, agent optional modifiers, so these are also one of the specification which you specify while asking for the estimation value. Now that's it, folks. This is how you basically use Copilot Studio Agent Estimator usage tool. Now this is in a preview. Now, not necessarily it will give you an exact value, but then at least it's an estimated tool. It will somehow allow you to reach to that conclusion that how many message packs would you require depending on the parameter which you specify. Also, if you want to reset all the values which you have put, you just click on reset button, and then you can start from beginning and then start putting those value. Now remember, you have to use this for your individual agent, so it does not give you a combination of agents. So you, for individual agent, you may need to use this tool again and again and then come up with that estimate. Now, once you deploy the agent and once you know these are the estimated messages, you can still use this tool depending on how the traffic flows within your when you deployed your Copilot Studio agent, and then you can evaluate, and then you can also derive a value from here and then accordingly adjust your licensing plan. So that's it, folks. Thanks for watching.